It's getting drafty in here. Our panelists are putting on their GM hats. What big fish in the NBA will drown in the first round? And what sports franchise is destined for a new home? It's time for Unsportsmanlike content. Welcome to Unsportsmanlike Conduct, the show that separates the LeBron Jameses from the Kwame Browns of sports knowledge. Today we wrap up this two-part playoff contest between the Red Scare and the Blue Steel. We're halfway home, and the score right now sees the Red Scare ahead by 1. Still awarding the points is me, your host, Ben Barker. I'm only one man, so let's make sure our panelists are back from the locker room. Bringing it over here to the Red Scare, guys. You come into this second round of the playoff matchup. You're up 1 point. How are you feeling?
Oh, we're right where we're supposed to be. As the script said, we're supposed to be winning at the first half of the show. So, Lily and me, our first time together on the show together. But Lily, thank you, Mark. But,
oh, boy.
We are feeling good. We have the lead. And
we have cool nicknames, too, by the way.
Yeah, we have great nicknames.
All right. Can we hear them?
You can if you want. Lily... General Zhao's chicken.
And
like
patty cakes.
So
we're
going to
creative
win.
nicknames. You guys got some cute nicknames like that. You're
championship.
down by 1.
No.
I think Marcus is shaking in his boots over there. What's going on,
The
guys?
script I was reading said that we weren't allowed to have nicknames, so unfortunately we didn't get to go on that one. But, 1 point, I've seen bigger deficits come back from. The A-Block Kings have fallen before.
All
Let's
right.
see what happens.
Well, guys, right now the NFL is in a lockout, but next week we'll be locked into the NFL draft. The first pick is still up in the air, and frankly, there are a lot of teams that could use some help. The Raiders will find some way to screw it up, and the Patriots have plenty of picks to trade down. Guys, surprise, you've just been hired as the general manager. You're not getting paid, but how are you going to help your team improve? We're coming over here to Marky Mark, the Sausage Garcia. What are you going to do, Marcus?
Well, Ben, I'm going to be the GM of the Minnesota Vikings.
All right.
And for my first order of business, I'm giving up my 4th-round draft pick to the Washington Redskins to get Donovan McNabb. Redskins have already announced they're not happy with McNabb. They want to get rid of him. They'll accept a 4th or a 5th-round pick. Vikings desperately need a quarterback right now. We have Joe Webb. Guess what? He's just like McNabb. He likes to run out of the pocket and can throw. We saw some good stuff from him. Second order business, I'm going to stay at number 12, and I'm going to take Daquan Bowers as a defensive end. I'm going to put him right alongside Jared Allen. A lot of people being scared, Daquan, he has knee trouble. Well, guess what? Another person had knee trouble that no one wanted to take, and his name was Adrian Peterson, and I'm pretty sure he's one of the best running backs in the league. That's what I'm going to do for the Vikings. So I just fixed 2 major problems. I fixed my defensive problems, which were losing one of the Williams brothers, and my offensive quarterback issue.
Marcus, call him Mr. Fix-It. He's fixing all the
No,
problems. How are you guys going to
It's
combat
good to know that because Adrian Peterson has been successful, everyone who's ever had a questionable knee will now just be great. I am the general manager of the New England Patriots, and with my first-round pick, 17 overall, I'm going to address a need at outside linebacker / defensive end. I'm going to go with Cameron Jordan out of Cal because the Patriots were the worst team in the league at third down conversion defense. And I know people ask, why don't you address the secondary? But I think this first address it going with someone who can actually get to the pocket, take down the quarterback, won't have the cornerbacks out to dry as much, and they'll have less time to chase.
All right, that was definitely an issue last season for the Pats. They weren't getting to the quarterback too well. Lily, do you agree with Pat? You going to stick with the Pats, or are you going to switch it up?
I'm going to go with the rivals, and that would be the Indianapolis Colts.
I knew you would.
Yeah, I'm going to be Bill Polian for a day. It's going to be really fun. We have a lot of problems, to be honest with you. Our offensive line was really terrible last year. Defensive tackles, we really need them, and running backs are 3 concerns that I think I would fill as Bill Polian. But as the first business, I'm going to get a right tackle, and that would be Nate Soldier out of Colorado. He's 6'8", 320 pounds, moves left and right. He will fill in the hole for Peyton Manning to actually have time to throw. And then my second pick would actually be for the defensive tackle. We were terrible against the run. Everyone ran across us, and I would get Christian Ballard.
All right, Greg, we haven't heard from Greg at all yet. Unusual here on the UC. Greg,
get
into it.
Nate Soldier's not going
Marcus,
to
stop it.
It's too bad that nobody. You almost forgot his name, by the way. It's too bad that nobody's ever come back from a questionable argument. I'm gonna be the GM for the Broncos. They have the second pick, and they really need defensive line help. They lost their 2 starting defensive tackles, and John Fox is moving to a 4-3. That leaves me Nick Fairley or Marcel Darius. Marcel Darius is the safer guy. He's taller than 6 feet. Nick Fairley actually wasn't as big as they thought he was going to be at the combine. So I'm going to take Marcel Darius out of Alabama. The guys could be the next Warren Sapp. And then Tebow needs somebody to throw to. Second round, Kyle Rudolph in a Notre Dame, the tight end, projected as the best tight end in the draft. He's going to slip. Bam, 2 needs right
All
like
right,
that.
Greg, call him Mr. Clutch because he comes up with the victory in the last seconds of that one. Guys, where does every good team start with their fundamental? It's not by drafting a big-name quarterback who's going to burn out. You got to start on the line. That's where Greg's starting, and then he's addressing one of the big-name players. It's going to go over here to the Blue Steel. Okay, guys, the NBA Western Conference has turned into the Westminster Underdog Show as both the Lakers and Spurs have looked anything but a sure thing. In the East, the cream is rising to the top as the Bulls, Heat, and Celtics have yet to lose. That being said, this week's games have been closer than Pedro and Don Zimmer's face. Hide under your desk because no team is safe. Guys, I'm wondering what will be the best team in terms of their seed to bite the dust in the first round. Greg, you're starting us off here.
I'm going to say that in these playoffs, most of the favorites are going to win. So the best seed to lose is going to be the 4 seed, the Orlando Magic in the East. Now, in the regular season, they lost 3 of 4 to the Hawks over the course of the season. And whenever they play them, they seem to score in the 80s. They struggle offensively. They don't match up well with Atlanta. And Orlando, they've just been shaky since they made that big mid-season trade. They don't have that chemistry, that playoff experience that they had when they were all together for those years. They're relying way too much on Howard. He's definitely prone to going cold in some big games. So they can't rely on him to drop 40 points every single night. I think that Orlando is right for the taking.
All right, Marcus, your Spurs have looked a little shaky. Are they going down? Who's your team?
Yes.
I completely agree with Greg. Here's the reason why. He made great points. He forgot the one major thing, though. Atlanta, they learned from last year. What they're doing this year is they're allowing Dwight Howard to go single. They're letting him get, he got 36 points the first game. I'm pretty sure he lost that game because they're not getting beat by the 3. They are staying with their man.
Okay.
They're going to let Howard get his 40 points, but nobody else is bringing him on this team. Quentin Richardson's not doing it. Turkoglu's not doing it. They learned from that 4-2
Great.
sweat
All right,
last
Blue-
year.
the
They're
Blue
gonna
are
get
not
the
having
That
magic.
is exciting. I'm going to go with Marcus. This is going to hurt a little bit. I'm
Is
going to
it? 'Cause
go
they're
with
not gonna
the
lose.
San Antonio Spurs. Is
Why?
going to be the first great upset. They're struggling now with the Grizzlies. I think they'll get past them. But after that, they're going to have to handle the red-hot Oak City Thunder. And I think that's going to be the first big team to fall. I think the first round is going to go as
Didn't say in the first round of the
scripted. But
playoffs.
now I think
That wasn't the
no,
question.
It's going to be the
It
first
said-
Hold on, let him finish.
big
let him
great
finish.
team.
The first,
the first team to high seed
Just
to lose. And I think it's
finish
going
your
to be the San Antonio Spurs because I just don't like the matchups they have. And I think Oak City, if they're struggling with the Grizzlies, they're showing that they can't handle a fast-paced team, and that's exactly what the Thunder is, but just better.
Marcus has his hand raised. I'm going to pretend I'm on the Toronto owner here and call on you, Marcus.
Two
So-
things. First, Pat, the question was to lose in the first round, not the second. Second, Manu's back. I don't know if you noticed this, but when Manu's back, this team's much 1,000 times better.
Oh,
Their
man.
field goal percentage goes up from 39 to 55. Their total points goes from 88 to 106. Even if you didn't notice this, Zach Randolph, Marcus Skull had a combined of 23 points last night. Want to know why? Because Manu was good at help defense.
All right, we've heard how much you love Manu. Lily, tell me who's going to go down first.
Okay, well, I don't like Manu, so I'm going to stick with San Antonio Spurs.
That's a great reason why.
So
they're
now,
gonna
hold on,
lose.
guys.
Are
Do
they
you think
losing
the
to the
Spurs are going out in the first round? Are they going to lose in the first round? Or are they going to lose, like Pat said, to Oak City?
Well, the thing is, the Memphis Grizzlies are an 8 seed. They have played very, very, very tough against the Spurs. I think they have a great shot of knocking them off in the first round.
I don't think so,
wait,
guys.
wait,
That's
wait,
going to
wait.
do it. Now, listen, the Spurs are going to get by the Memphis Grizzlies. That's just not even in the question. Marcus takes Pat down on not even knowing the question. So the next set points are going over here to the Blue Steel. Well, we've got 2 topics off the board, and so far, our score sees the Blue Steel surging back ahead after trailing. When the UC returns, we're heading where we belong, in the kitchen. Keep it here. Welcome back to Unsportsmanlike Conduct, where the points are still flying off the grill. I'm joined here by Chef Patty Cake Jaguar of the Red Scare and Chef Austin Fontanilla Wafer of the Blue Steel. It's time for the UC Cafe, a round of hot stove where our classically trained chefs are spicing things up to give their team the edge. I'm your server this evening, Ben Barker. The tastiest recipes will get the points, so let's get started. All right, guys, the Bruins of Boston have struggled against the Canadiens in the playoffs recently and lost both their duels at the Garden. However, Boston invaded Canada and pulled one back. The Bruins came up just short last year and don't want to disappoint again. What is the missing ingredient keeping them from the Stanley Cup? Blue Steel are in the lead, so Austin, you get to start things off.
Thanks, man. And I think it's quite simple what the answer to this is. They're not being physical enough. You know what I'm saying? They get out there, they're letting the Canadians push them around. They need to take control of the game. When they're physical, they score first. And when they score first, they win. They scored first in Game 3, and guess what? They won. They didn't score first in the first 2, and they're trying to catch up the whole time. They're a defensive team, and when they get up early, you play right into their system.
All right, so Austin's throwing some physicality into his soup. Pat, what are you going with?
I think whatever the Bruins go with, they shouldn't put any fiber in it because they've already been pooping the bed so far. I just add a little spice to it, maybe a little oregano, some basil would be very playful. I think they just need to spice things up, get the action going, get the juices going, and nothing more than some old spices would should probably do that.
All right, well, while Pat may have wanted to put some spices in, you didn't really tell me what they need to do to win, so the first point's going to go over here to Austin. Bruins do need to get more physical. They got to boss those Canadians around and show them who's boss. All right, now that our first course is out of the way, let's move on to the entree. The NBA has certainly served up some mouth-watering matchups and performances, but is that what you had hoped? I want a professional opinion. How does the NBA postseason taste to you so far? Chef Pat, why don't you tell me how it tastes?
I'm going to take a sip again. I'm going to say it tastes very bland. Maybe a little cauliflower, maybe some stale meatloaf. I think it's just been, everything's been going as planned so far, and I think I want something a little more exotic, something I haven't seen before in the next round.
All right, maybe a little bit of Dominican spice.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, add some oregano.
All right,
to it.
Austin, how does it taste to you?
It's tasting hot, spicy, and great. It's just something I've never tried before. You say it's bland. Think about this. Memphis won. New Orleans won. That's the 7 and 8 seed knocking off the number 1 and 2 seed. That doesn't happen. All the Celtics games down to the wire. Ray Allen with that last-second three. This is anything but bland. Teams are getting upset left and right, and when they're not, the games are really, really close.
All right, Austin, you did a better job this time, and you're going to get some points for it. I think that the playoffs have been great to this point. I know both the Celtics games that I've watched, I've been screaming, jumping around at the TV. Not that I don't every night anyway. But the point is going to come over here to the Blue Steel. Okay, guys, as you know, one of the most important parts of your restaurant is the menu. Whether it comes in a helmet or is served on a stick, it comes down to taste. And your extensive travels, what is the #1 ballpark or arena food out there? Chef Pat, start us off.
Well, Ben, I know you've kind of questioned my arguments so far, but you cannot question the lobster bisque that is served at Safeco Park. If you go out there, it's worth, if it's the 9th inning, pay $100, go into the park just to have access to this bisque. It is phenomenal, and I've never tasted anything like it.
Pat loves the lobster bisque. I've never tried it, but might book a flight to Seattle just so I can have some. Austin, what are you going to go with? You just sticking with a soup, or are you going to switch it up?
I'm going to switch it up. And first, I thought this was only a New Hampshire thing, and but then I've seen it in other ballparks, the fried Oreo. I don't know if you ever tried it.
fried Oreo.
The Oreo is good as well. You throw it in the fryer. You can throw anything in the fryer. And it tastes amazing. So, you know, I have some extensive cooking knowledge, and there isn't anything better than a fried Oreo.
All right, you know what? Fried Oreo does sound good, but if I'm going to shell out all this money at a ballpark, I want something more than an Oreo. I think I'm going to go with Pat and the lobster bisque. I've never tried it before, but Pat is going to get the point. The Red Scare take 2 out of 3 here. I've got to go wipe the drool off my face. So we're going to take a quick break, but stay tuned. We'll deliver you more UC after the break.